Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me. This is Betsy and I'm here to introduce to you all of the new products from our latest collection called Star Spangled Summer. So this is a smaller collection for us. It has 11 different products, and in this video I'll be showing you all of those products in detail, as well as doing a project share showing you all the projects that I created with these new products and kind of talking about all the details. So let's get started. First up is a new sentiment set called Land of Liberty, and this set is perfect for 4th of July, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. There's lots of sentiments like thank you for your service, brave and free, 4th of July, sweet land of liberty, just a lot of patriotic different things. You are a hero. There's some mix and match sentiments here, that some smaller phrases that go with the larger sentiments. So this is a 4x8 set. And then we also have a coordinating die that allows you to cut out the sentiments from this set. This is an 8-piece die set. Has all of the dies for the larger sentiments in the set. Next up, we have a few really fun standalone dies. The first of which is called a Stars and Stripes bow die. This just creates the most adorable stars and stripes bow. Looks like this when it's all put together. Super easy to assemble. I'll show you all of the pieces cut out here. We have the tails, the stripe detail for the tails, and then the bow base. And basically you just stack all of these pieces to assemble it. It's super simple. The detail for the lower portion of the bow, and the stripe details for the top portion of the bow. And then there is the star detail there. And then if you wanted to add some detail to the knot, there are a couple of additional dies for doing that as well. There's a base, and then also a little piece where you can add a striped detail to the knot in the center. So basically it just looks like that. You stack the pieces to assemble. Super easy. There is a graphic on the back side of the die to show you assembly as well. Next up is another standalone die called Wave the Flag Border. This is a 3-piece die set that creates this pretty border. It is wide enough to fit an A2 card, so the finished width is 5.5 inches wide. It consists of 3 pieces, allowing you to add some shading to the flag. So there's the base, and then a detail layer. I cut these from a dark burgundy and then a brighter red, and they just stack like that. And then there's the star detail portion, which you can cut from blue and layer that over the top. Really pretty. You can cut 2 of them and kind of put them up one way and another to create basically a full panel, which is really fun. So that is another fun standalone die. And the Wave the Flag and the Stars and Stripes bow coordinate wonderfully with the Land of Liberty sentiment set. So I'll go ahead and share some projects using these new products. First of all, we have this pretty card, perfect for a service member or 4th of July. For the background on this one, I did use a Starstream product suite, which I'll be showcasing a little bit later in this video, but I created the foiled background using the Starstream, and this sentiment is from the new Land of Liberty, and topped it off with one of those pretty Stars and Stripes bows. Here's one that I created with a Wave the Flag border die. I kind of positioned it diagonally across a vertical card. So like I mentioned earlier, the border is long enough to fill the long side of an A2 card, so it's 5.5. But there's some other fun things you can do with it as well. And behind there I tucked Ribbon Maker Star Strip die cut from some foil. It's actually from our Ribbon Maker, our ribbon paper, our gold foil ribbon paper. So I cut that and kind of tucked it behind there. Again, I foiled the background with some stars using the new Starstream hot foil, which I'll show you in a bit too. And then a sentiment from the new Land of Liberty. For this next couple of cards, again, kind of use the same product suite. This time I went for more of a vintage Americana look with some darker rusty reds and burgundies, and more of like a vintage and vintage metallic gold cardstock and some splatters in the background. Here I used 2 of those Wave the Flag borders, and like I mentioned earlier, I kind of turned them, one going this way and then turned to 180 degrees and put the other one this way, so it makes this really pretty full panel. Behind there you can see some foiled stars too. Here's another one. I wanted to use that pretty bow and do kind of an Americana look for that as well. Behind this one in the background, you can see the Star Stream die. I'll show you that later in more detail. And then there's an A2 stitched scallop panel in here, which was stamped with our seed catalog background die. Kind of a different theme, but I wanted something that was kind of vintage text looking, and I thought that worked well for that. Again, a sentiment from Land of Liberty, and I went with kind of the deeper Americana colors, dark rusty reds and blues. Next up, I really wanted to pair that fun Stars and Stripes bow with some florals. So for this first one here, I wanted to create some all yellow florals. I love the bright yellow with the red, white, and blue. And those florals were actually cut with our new die we released last time, which is called Best Bouquet Details die. So I cut and assembled 2 of those and positioned them this way, turned the second one the other direction, so it created this whole full panel. Behind there you can see an embossed background, which was done with the new Starstream embossing folder, which I will also show you in a little bit. But topped it off with that pretty Stars and Stripes bow, and then a sentiment from the Land of Liberty set. This one I wanted to pair with some geraniums, so I pulled out my Botanicut's geranium die and created a whole bunch of geraniums and topped it off with that pretty Stars and Stripes bow. In the background here you can see our herringbone parquet background die, and then I also incorporated a few fun pinwheels from a set I'm going to introduce here in a little bit as well, called Grand Finale. Okay, so moving on. Up next we have Grand Finale. This is a die and stencil combo. There is a full background die, which fits an A2 card, which has some cute sparkles, fireworks, and then there are some pinwheel details and rocket ships, which are super cute. And then there is a one-piece stencil that is included in this set as well, so it's a die and stencil combo. And this stencil just lets you add some color to the fireworks. And so here on the back side we can see an assembled example. We've got some pinwheels, you die cut those. The stencil also includes see if I can get a good shot of this here. The stencil also includes some details for the pinwheels and the rockets. So if you wanted to stencil some detailing onto those die cuts, you can do that. The pinwheels include that detail as also a die cut, so you can layer or stencil. So that's kind of fun. And here shows an assembled example on the back side. So just sharing a couple projects using that set. Here is a fun 4th of July card. I again used a sentiment from the new Land of Liberty set, and I used a few more rocket ships and pinwheels than what it shows on the back side of the Grand Finale assembled, but of course you can use it just as it's shown, or you can add more. I added more to this one. I wanted a bunch of rockets and I added some pinwheels to the center of the fireworks. And here you can see how the cutouts of the fireworks, I backed that panel with some holographic cardstock, and then the blue, the yellow, and the red was done with the stencil. And then for the rocket ships, I added the stripe detail using the stencil. And for the pinwheels, those are all die cut. So I didn't use the stencil to add the color. I instead layered the detail die cut over the pinwheels. So you can see the fun details in the background. I added some stickles glitter to the center of all those cute little firework sparkles. I thought this would be also fun for other projects as well. It doesn't have to be just for 4th of July. Here I made a fun congrats card using the same idea. This time I got it from black cardstock, and I used a gold pen to add some dotted details to those pierce points in the background. For the stenciling, I actually stenciled with some Versamark and then used some pigment powder to add some color to the back to the black. And then to further define that, I also die cut those fireworks from some colored cardstock, and then just tucked a few of those die cut sparkles in the background. Again, I used, I backed the fireworks panel with holographic cardstock so it shows through those firework cutouts. Last but not least, we have a multi-piece product suite called Star Stream. So first of all, we have in this product suite, there is a 4x8 stamp set, lots of star themed sentiments for lots of different occasions, all the way from baby, like this twinkle twinkle little star would be perfect for a baby. Birthday sentiments as well, a star is born or a star was born, so just fill that in with whatever sentiment is appropriate for your occasion. And then there's also this little on this day, which can be combined with that sentiment. Wish upon a star, you're a star, shine like the star you are, congrats. That congrats sentiment is the one I used on the congrats card I just showed you. Reach for the stars. And then of course there is a coordinating die to cut out all of the sentiments. This is a 13-piece set of dies. And you can see on the inside here, all of those, how they coordinate with the stamp set. Up next in this product suite is a stencil. So this is a 4-piece stencil, and it creates this pretty swirly galaxy-inspired background. The 4 pieces are the 3 different parts of the swirls. So 1, 2, 3, and then the stars is a 4th piece. And the star one has a large center star, and that is tabbed in, so you can choose to leave it. So if you don't think you want to stencil the main star in the center, you can leave that in there, or if you want to cut it out, you can just snip that apart with the scissors and snip that out of there. Up next in the Star Stream product suite is the Star Stream die, and this is a 1-piece full panel A2 die. It creates a fun background with lots of swirl details, star cutouts. Here's an example. I cut this from some glitter cardstock. You can see all the fun details in there. It coordinates with the Star Stream stencil, so you can add some color to this with the stencils. Next, we have the Star Stream embossing folder. This is a new product for us. We have not done embossing folders before. This is a 3D embossing folder. Show you the example inside here. This is what it looks like when it's embossed. I'll actually show you a physical piece right here. You can see all that pretty embossing, and again, this coordinates with the Star Stream stencil, so you can add color to that, just super fun. And lastly, we have the Star Stream hot foil. So this hot foil allows you to add some foiled stars. It also coordinates with the Star Stream embossing folder. I would not recommend pairing it with the Star Stream die, because the die cuts out the stars, so you basically would end up cutting out everything that you foiled. So I wouldn't recommend pairing the die and the hot foil, but definitely the hot foil and the embossing folder, or the hot foil and the stencil. Those are great to use together. Here I'll show you an example that I have embossed and then also foiled. So if you're using the Star Stream hot foil with the embossing folder, you'll definitely want to hot foil first and then run your foiled panel through with your embossing folder as a second step. So I'll show you some projects I made with the Star Stream product suite. First of all, I used the stencil paired with the embossing folder here. I embossed first and then stenciled that with the Star Stream stencil. And then I also added a Star Stream sentiment and cut that out with the matching sentiments die. So super fun to do, easy to add that color to the embossing. For this one, I used the Star Stream die paired with also the Starstream embossing folder, and the stencil. So there's tons of dimension on that background. The Starstream die cut out all those stars, so I backed this with a panel of green cardstock and also a panel of holographic, which was also cut with the Starstream die. And then I offset it just a tiny bit, so some of that glitter kind of shows around the stars, and then I also nested that larger star in the center there, right, tucked it behind my sentiment. And that sentiment is also from the Starstream sentiment set. This one, I had so much fun with this one. I used the Starstream die, and I die cut it from like a dark navy, a light blue, and then also a purple, and then also a white. And I kind of inked that white with this seedless preserves is what I used. But I cut all of those different panels of different colors apart. I snipped them apart where they are kind of cut. Here's an example. I'll show you. This is a panel that was cut with the Starstream die, and it cuts all of these like swirly details. And so I die cut it from all of those different colored cardstocks and then snipped it apart and used this dark navy one as my base and just kind of added all of those layers and colors by snipping that apart. Now, I don't think I would call this like a quick and easy project, but it was definitely fun to play around with. And then for the planets, those were actually cut with our Hoopla mini die. So the Hoopla mini insides of those mini hoops, and then this is a little embroidery hoop oval one that I kind of tucked behind there to create the rings of the planet. So that was this was just such a fun project to do. Up next, I have a fun 4th of July card that uses a Starstream embossing folder, and then the color was added with the Starstream stencil. Behind my sentiment here, I put some die cuts. Those were Starstruck die cuts. Those were from last release. I die cut 2 of those from holographic cardstock and put those behind my sentiment, which is from that new Land of Liberty set. Heat embossed that in silver. And then I also used our new grand finale die to add some cute little pinwheels. So that's just a super fun, sparkly 4th of July card. Lastly, I have a couple of baby cards done with the Starstream product suite. So I wanted to make a pink and a blue version. So I started off by hot foiling the Starstream stars onto a pink and a blue panel. And then I embossed those with the Starstream embossing folder, and then used the stencil to add just a little bit of color, just super light, some different shades of blue and pink using those stencils. And then the sentiments are, of course, from the new Starstream sentiment set. For the stars here, I die cut those from a gold metallic cardstock and then embossed using the Starstream die, so that cuts that center star out. And then I embossed those with the Starstream embossing folder to add just some kind of fun detail there. On the inside, I didn't attach these yet because I wanted to photograph them, but this eventually will get attached. I have some panels that were foiled with the Starstream hot foil plate, and then I added a sentiment from the Starstream sentiment set. I love this sentiment, so fun for a baby card. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. And then finished it in the inside, you are loved near and far. So that wraps up our product introduction and also my project showcase. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at these new products. The products I'm showing in this video are all from our new Star Spangled Summer collection. This collection will be available in the shop beginning tomorrow, Friday, May 30th at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you soon.